breaking up again, whatever, and you'll have to start taking medication again. But the reality is the medication's not good for you. It's not good for your liver. It does, there's not really been anyone that's taken it for a long amount of time before. It's kind of one of those things that's unknown. And any unknown thing in science is always a little scary. Anyways, fast forward to last June, Tiffany and I decide that the best thing to do is do this radioactive therapy. And a lot of you guys know that I even preached when I was radioactive. I don't know if it was upstairs in the sanctuary in the loft area, and I just remember I wasn't, because I was radioactive. You basically swallow a pill, and iodine goes to your thyroid, and it's supposed to kill it. And they don't really know how much to kill it or how much it's going to die. So what ends up happening is your whole thyroid usually dies, and then you have to take supplements for the rest of your life. But long story short, the supplements are better for you because it's something your body has, rather than the opposite, your body, restricting your body from something it's doing. So it's better for you that way. Anyways, probably way too much detail. But I did the radioactive thing, and I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know what I was hoping for. I just kind of thought, yeah, this is the end of the road. This is going to be great. This is going to be awesome. I'm not going to have to deal with this overactive thyroid anymore. I'll take some supplements. We'll be fine. And I'll take pills for the rest of my life. If you know me, I'm kind of one of those guys that doesn't like harboring on things. I'll just do it, and I'll just forget about it, and I never want to have to think about it again. Well, in December, we found out that the radioactive iodine didn't work. That my thyroid is too superhuman. That's what I like to think. My thyroid is too superhuman. Radioactive material did not kill it. It basically rejected all of that. It said, no thanks. That's not gonna, no need for that here. And so I do believe, but Lord, I've got this thyroid thing that we don't know what's going on, and I'm tired of it, and I don't want to harbor it on anymore. I don't want to explain the story to people anymore. I don't want to do all that stuff anymore. I'm just tired of it, and we're tired of pouring tons of money into it, and I'm tired of getting negative results back from the doctor. And I do believe, and so I wish there was a happy ending to this story, but there's not. We're still in the midst of not knowing what to do, not knowing where we're going to go, getting more doctors' permission and not even permission, just this is a direction you could possibly go. And you know that. If you've ever been through a medical thing before, you know that's scary. That's not a comfortable thing to hear. But what I do know is that this last, in the midst of being in a very supportive, loving environment where I'm learning a lot from a cool community, very far away and different from the community I came from, but very cool. I have this pack that I'm carrying around of doubt. And I'm pastoring these people, and I'm loving these students, and I have this pack of doubt on. And I'm just carrying it. And I'm just going to be honest. It's hard. I'm still carrying it at this moment. I think, God, I do believe. But when is this going to come to an end? When am I going to be able to say, I was healed? That Jesus showed up in a really cool way, like he does for this father's son. I do believe, but I really like Jesus' response to this. He says, if you can, everything is possible for one who believes. I think God is big enough for our doubts. And I think he knows exactly the reasons I'm carrying this burden on my shoulder. And And don't get me wrong, I mean, there's times where I'm completely able to lift it up and say, God, it's all yours. And then there's times, maybe a week, maybe a couple days, where I just, no, I want it back. I want it back, and I want to carry it. And then I realize, why am I doing this? Why am I carrying this thing around? Have it back. And it's a wrestling match, you know. In very, very famous passage that I know you've heard before, John 3:16 says, "For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life." Whoever believes in him. In Matthew 11:28, Jesus says, "Come to me, all of you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." And I can just be honest, I need rest. I need a place to come and just rest in Jesus' arms. And so I believe this last year for me has probably been a semicolon. There's just a whole list of things. Yes, God, I 100% believe in you. I would not dedicate my life to pastoring students and caring for people and preaching and all that stuff if I did not believe. But God, I've got this long chain of things that starts with my thyroid and ends with, why the heck are we in Moses Lake? Somewhere in there, there's a lot of other things. I feel like we're bashing Moses Lake a lot, and I don't mean it to sound that way. Sorry, I love you guys. I hope you're not listening. No, I really do feel called there, and it's been amazing. But I have that long thing. I have that long story. And I want to know where you are. I want to know, if you were to say, I believe, how would you end that? How would you end that statement? And so what I'd like to do is I'm going to pass out some cards. And what I'd like to do is just write I believe on these cards. And we'll do some over here. Come over here. I believe, ... And thanks. I believe, ... And what I'd like for you to do is write Mark chapter 8, verse 24. Mark 8:24. And what he says in Mark 8:24 is, I do believe, help me overcome my unbelief. And when I think about that long chain of things, every single time I want to say and I want to cry out, God, I do believe, help me overcome all of this. Help me overcome the fact that there are things that I'm just struggling with right now. I'm in a stage of life where I just know that God is teaching me to cling to him. To cling to him in my doubt, in my worries, and my fears. And it's been absolutely hard and incredible at the same time. But Mark chapter 8:24, I do believe, help me overcome my unbelief. And so what I'd like for you to do is, underneath that or somewhere near that, is say, what is that I believe going to look like for you this next year? And maybe it's just maybe you just want to be honest with yourself and you're saying, you know what, I can foresee a rough year, I can foresee some changes, it's going to be a comma, but I'm going to be faithful. I'm going to say, I want to explore this. I want to explore whatever it is this next year is going to be, that God is going to come with me in this year. So I believe, how do you want to finish that statement this next year? So as you think about that for a second, sorry, I said Mark 8:24 and it's Mark 9:24.
Yeah.
I apologize. Mark 9:24.
9:24.
Yeah, everyone's gonna go home. Wait, I thought he said this was like this going on. That guy's crazy. I do believe, help me overcome my unbelief. You know, early on, I said that there's a bunch of different ways to take this. And what I want to say is that I believe that God is big enough for our doubt. And I believe that you can completely believe in God, but still, to this man's credit, say, help me in my unbelief, and still have areas of unbelief in your life. And I think that Jesus actually is, I think he's honoring this guy by saying, thank you for being honest with me. Thank you for being real and saying that, yes, you do believe, you want to follow me with everything that you are, but you have this long list of things. Maybe it's just one huge thing. But you have this stuff that's tripping you up for whatever reason. And so I do believe, but help me in this. And Jesus responds. And I don't think it's a condemning way. I think it's I will be with you. I will continue to follow me, continue to call on me, no matter what comes ahead. And you know what? This thing is going to keep coming up. This thyroid thing is going to keep coming up. If I knew that a year ago, I don't know if I would still be here. But this thing is going to keep coming up. But you know what? Follow me. No matter what, follow me. Cling to me, and I will carry you through this. Stop trying to do it on your own. Maybe that's what I need to hear. Stop trying to do it on your own and cling to me. The last thing I want to say is if you're in a place tonight that you're just, I don't even know if I do believe or what's going on. I say this to my students all the time, and that's why I keep repeating it tonight. I really do believe that God is big enough for our doubts and our worries and our fears. And if that's true, then why not wrestle with him? Why not try to figure out what God's all about if he's big enough for that? If you can say, God, I don't believe in you, and still have a conversation, why not wrestle? I'd like to close our time together in the same way, saying the same prayer that the Father prayed. He didn't pray, but his response to Jesus. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say the words, and then I just want a couple minutes of silence, just praying that prayer over and over again in your mind. Again, Mark 9:24. Immediately, the boy's father exclaimed, I do believe. I do believe. Help me overcome my unbelief. Just one chapter earlier in Mark 8:34 and 35 says this. Then he called the crowd to him along with his disciples and said, whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me. For whoever wants to save their life will lose it. Whoever wants to save their life will lose it. But whoever loses their life for me and for the gospel's sake will save it. Jesus, I ask, Lord, that that there may be many burdens, many backpacks being carried in this room. God, I pray that you not only would lift my burden, but that you would lift the burdens of everyone in this room, Jesus, and that this would be that these would steer us closer to you, Jesus, not further away, but that you would, in fact, take the things that we are struggling with in our doubt, and that you would use them to steer us closer to you. Jesus, and that you would help us to lose ourselves, and in losing ourselves, find you. We pray all of this in your Son's name. Amen.
Savior, I come, quiet my soul. Redemption still, where your blood was spilled. For my ransom, everything I once had here, I count it all as lost. Lead me to the cross where your love poured out. Bring me to my knees, Lord, I lay me down. Rid me of myself, I belong to you. Oh, lead me. For my sin and death, by your grace, everything I once felt here, I count it all. Lead me to the cross, where your love poured out. Bring me to my knees, Lord, I lay me down. Guilty of myself, I belong to you. Oh, lead me. Your heart, to your heart. Lead me to your heart. Lead me to your heart. Lead me to the cross, where your love poured out. Lead me to my knees, Lord, I lay me down. Guilty of myself, I belong to you. Oh, lead me. Lead me to the cross, where your love poured out. Guilty of my knees, Lord, I lay me down. Guilty of myself, I belong to you. Oh, lead me.
We just pray that wherever our statement ends, whatever comes after that, I believe, Father, or whether we're not even at I believe. Father, help us to find you. Help us to seek you. And God, you're creative. You meet us all in different ways, Father. Help us not to be afraid to seek you in the places that you've placed us. As we look back on this last year, as we move forward in this one, help that statement that comes afterwards, help this be something that's strengthened, something that's more complete and less broken. We just thank you and praise you for this time. Thank you for this community, Father. Help us to strengthen each other as we go out, as we live throughout our weeks. Just trust you, help us to trust one another, to lift each other up. In Jesus' name we pray.
All right, so real quick before we leave, the two highest attended Incommons have been when Matt left, and now when Matt